are resolved.
Question number 6, Sue Moroney.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Education and asks, when will the government respond to the Early Childhood Education Taskforce report that was released on 1 June 2011?
The Honourable Anne Tolley.
Mr Speaker, soon.
Sue Moroney.
Supplementary question to the Minister. When she made the statement on July 1 about the release of the ECE Taskforce report that, quote, any proposals for major changes will form part of the election campaign, did she mean the work done by officials preparing the government response to the Taskforce would form the National Party election policy on early childhood education?
The Honourable Anne Tolley.
No.
Sue Moroney.
Will she commit to keeping all the existing subsidies at current levels for 20 hours ECE if her government is re-elected?
The Honourable Anne Tolley.
Well, Mr Speaker, thank you for the confidence that the National is going to be re-elected. If there is going to be any changes to the funding system, that includes 20 hours ECE, it will take some time. I have said in this House on a number of occasions and in public that this government supports 20 hours ECE. We have expanded it to include parent-led centres, and if we saw any changes we would see 20 hours ECE retained, including fee controls.
Point of order, Sue Moroney.
Mr Speaker, my question was very specific about keeping all existing subsidies at current levels for 20 hours ECE. Now, the Minister has made a statement committing to 20 hours, so she's prepared to do that. My question was about existing subsidies at current levels.
I invite the member, though, to reflect on what she's asked. She's asked the current minister whether this current minister is prepared to commit a future Minister of Education following an election. And now the minister, in answering, has indicated what appears, it sounded to me, like might have been the government's approach to this issue. But there's no way the member can expect a minister just prior to an election to commit to something like that when the minister may or may not be the government. This government may or not be the government after the election. The minister may not or may not be the minister after the election. And so I think to ask her to commit exactly is a bit unreasonable.
Sue Moroney.
Does she regret then promising to keep all existing subsidies for early childhood education prior to the last election, but then proceed to cut 2 of those subsidies, causing parents' costs to rise by nearly 12% in 1 year alone for early childhood education?
The Honourable Anne Tolley.
Mr Speaker, I'm delighted that as Minister of Education in a John Key-led government, we have focused on increasing participation in early childhood education. We have increased the funding to early childhood education, and we have made some changes to the funding mechanisms, but we did maintain our promise to retain 20 hours, to retain the subsidies and to retain the fee controls.
Question number 7, Nikki Wagner. Point of order, Sue Moroney.
Table the National Party's election promise to keep existing subsidies for early childhood education prior to the last election.
Party policies are available to all members. Question number 7, Nikki Wagner.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Minister of Health, what improvement has been for patients needing elective surgery over the last 3 years?
The Honourable Tony Ryall.
Mr Speaker, more good news. When this government came to office, Mr Speaker, elective surgery numbers had flatlined over 9 years. In fact, access had been cut because the number of operations did not keep up with